Okay, alright, so welcome back. Okay, so this video is I will brief the meaning of ODE and also the meaning of PDE. Okay, so like I said before, ODE is the ordinary differential equation. So ODE is an equation that contains only one or more, okay, one or more dependent variable with the respect to a single independent variable. Okay, I repeat, ODE is an equation that contains only one or more. Okay, it can be one or more, 1, 2, 3, and so on, dependent variable with the respect to a single independent variable. Single means one lah. Okay, single means one. Okay, this is the PDE. So for this is ODE. So for PDE, okay, the sentence is similar. It's an equation that contains only one or more dependent with the respect. Sorry, tulisan macam syakayam sebab nak cepat. Okay, with the respect to, okay, two or more independent variable. Okay, can you see the difference between ODE and PDE? Okay, the sentence is quite similar. I mean, dia punya ayat tu sama je basically, but they have a different on the numbers of independent variable. Okay, you can see that for ODE, it must be with respect to a single or one. Okay, single or one independent variable. But for PDE, it can be with respect to two or more independent variable. So the difference ODE PDE is on the number of independent variable. So my next question, what the difference between dependent and also independent variable? Okay, anybody know what's the difference? Okay, alright, so I will show you the next slide. Okay, slide lah, saya panggil slide even though it's just kertas A4. Okay, alright, so what is dependent variable and what is independent variable? Okay, so they have no specific sentence. I mean, I will give you equation, then I will explain through it. Okay, so for example, you have df dx. Okay, so df dx. So the variable that contains or the variable that involved here is f and x. So between these two variables, one of it is independent and another one is dependent. So which one dependent and which one is independent? Okay, so this one. Okay, if you can see that df dx, so we pronounce it df first, right? df dx. So this means that f is depends on x. Okay, f is depends on x, so means your f is dependent variable and your x is independent variable. Okay, clear? Okay, f depends on x, so therefore f is dependent variable and x is independent variable. So that's the difference between dependent and independent. So after you know these two, then you can answer or you can differentiate between ODE and also PDE. Okay, baru you boleh tahu mana satu ODE PDE selepas you tahu apa tu dependent and apa tu independent. Okay, so my question next. Okay, before we proceed to order and linearity and also linearity, so we go to example first. So my example here is determine. Okay, determine determine whether this DE, okay, DE stand for differential equation, are ODE or PDE. Okay, so this is my question. So let's say you have equation of d squared f dx squared plus 2x df dx equal to sine x. Okay, so first of all, what you need to do is identify first your variable. Okay, so from here you have two variable, which is x and f. Okay, x f, x f, x. So means that the variable that involved here is x and f. So now you need to declare first, x is a variable dependent or independent, or and also f. Okay, so you can see clearly that d square f dx. So okay, ataupun dalam kata mudah macam ni lah, variable yang berada di atas tu adalah variable dependent. Okay, so you can see that f is dependent, okay, and x is independent. Okay, so how many numbers, I mean repeat lah, ataupun dia ni berapa, macam ni saya cakap, okay, dia bukan kira repeat ke tak, dia kira how many variable. Okay, for example, you can see that f is dependent, right? So how many dependent variable involved in this equation? Only one, only f. Walaupun f tu ada dua kali, tapi kita bukan nak kisahkan dia repeat berapa kali, kita cuma nak tahu berapa variable yang involved. I mean kalau kira x, f, kalau ada y, tu consider yang baru lah. Okay, kita tak nak kira dia berapa kali dia repeat, kita just nak tahu ada berapa variable yang involved dalam equation tu. So for dependent, is only one. Okay, is only one, which is f. So kita tak nak I mean we don't want to bother about dependent, because of the difference between ODE and SPD is on the number of independent, right? So how many independent variable involved here in this equation? Only one, only x. This one also x. Okay, this one x, this one x. So means that only x, which is only one independent variable. So therefore, this equation is an ODE. Okay, clear or not? Okay. Alright, okay, I give you another one example. Okay, for example, you have df dx plus df dy equal to 3. Okay, identify first the variable that involved here. Okay, the variable that involved here is x, y, and f. Okay, f is dependent because it is be in the ups. Okay, dia ada kat atas, so means that it's dependent. So dependent variable ada satu. Okay, tak kisah dependent variable tu, tak kisah pun, sebab kita nak tahu berapa independent. So you can see that you have a variable x and y. So means that they have two independent variable here. X and y is independent, right? So therefore, this equation is a PDE. Okay, this is a PDE. Alright. Okay, so this is how we differentiate between ODE and PDE. It depends on the number of independent variable. Okay. Right, so for the next slide or the next video, I will show you what's the meaning of order and also what's the meaning of linearity.